Hey everyone, welcome back to Bagel TCG. Today we're going to be doing a spoiler review for all the cards that have been shown off from High Seas so far. They've already shown off 3 heroes. I assume all 3 heroes, maybe there's more, but they've already shown off 3 heroes from the set. They all look pretty powerful in their own way, and they've shown off a little bit of cards to go with them, like a Majestic and then a few commons. But we're mostly going to be focusing on what the heroes are, what they do, and what the set is looking like already. So let's hop into it here. This is a pirate set, High Seas, so we're going to be looking at pirates. All 3 heroes are pirates. Pirate is a class and not a talent, but it is possible for heroes to be 2 classes. So these are not talented heroes, actually. They are just double-classed heroes. They are pirates, and they are also mechanologists. They're doing both. So first, we have Puffin Hightail, which I believe is the bird. I don't think it is, but I'll choose to believe it's the bird. Puffin is a bird name, and it's a hightail. So we've got Puffin Hightail here. They are a pirate mechanologist hero, so you can play pirate cards and mech cards. It's got the normal 4 intellect, 40 life. Let's look at that hero text. Action, whatever this symbol is. I believe it's tap. We don't know exactly what it is, but from what most people think, it's tap, so you turn the card sideways. I'm going to guess it works like other card games where you untap at the start of turn. So you can do this once per turn, basically, is like action, you turn Puffin Hightail sideways, and that's your once per turn use of it, right? So it's basically maybe an abbreviation for once per turn, kind of. Or if there's multiple taps, you have to choose between them, which I think is the important thing. Action, tap this. Destroy a gold you control. So a gold token, pretty good tokens, but it's a pirate set, so I'm sure you can get them. You'll create a golden cog token. Seems good. We'll look at what golden cogs are in a second, and if they are worth destroying gold for. The second time you crank each turn, draw a card. Whoa! Draw a card? I get free card? All I gotta do is crank twice? That seems really, 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 really good. Mech is pretty weak right now in the current meta as I'm recording this, which is like the pre-Pro Tour London Aurora meta. The only even somewhat viable mech hero is Dash.io, I think. But none of them just say straight up draw a card. Actually, I don't know if any heroes say straight up draw a card. There probably is heroes that say straight up draw a card, but that's really, really good. That's super amazing. So we're going to definitely want to be cranking twice a turn, every turn with Puffin. Now the golden cogs are going to help us do that. It says when this enters the arena with a steam counter at the start of your turn, destroy this. It does nothing, but it does have crank. The card's basically blank except being an item that has crank. So you'll make it, you'll crank it. Boom. Now if we can find any other crank card, because you can do this once per turn by destroying a gold, you find any other crank card, of course you have to make gold as well, then you can draw a card, which just seems really good. You basically get +1 card every turn if we can get that off, and hopefully you can get it off consistently enough. Now there is other synergy with golden cogs, of course. Looking at the comments here, we've got Sky Skimmer. This is a 0 for 4, mech action, once per turn instant, you tap a cog you control, this gets +1 or go again. Great, 0 for 4 go again, or 0 for 5. Seems pretty strong. Doesn't seem like she's going to really need to boost it all. Seems like she's going to be more Teklo-Vossen style, especially because this Majestic they showed off is pretty defensive. It's 4 costs for 7, yellow. That seems really bad. Only blocks for 2. So far this card is unplayable. But it has an effect, Galvanize. When this defends, you may destroy an item you control. If you do, this gets +1. Okay, so you can make it into a 3 block. If a golden cog is destroyed this way, create a gold token and repeat this process. Okay, so that's the important part. It's probably like a 3 block most of the time because you're just going to destroy 1 golden cog and block with it. But you destroy the golden cog and you get a gold token. Basically, you're just cycling this, right? So you destroy the golden cog, makes a new gold token, and then Puffin can destroy that gold and make a new golden cog on your next turn. Cycling it sounds silly because you're kind of doing a whole bunch of nothing by blocking 3. But the advantage is, of course, you need to use this top part to crank because then you get a free card draw the second time you crank. So cycling the golden cog I think is pretty good. This card's pretty bad in every other way. Like it's a 4 for 7, it's a yellow. All of that sounds really bad, but I think because the blocking part is so good, you'll probably just play it. Cycle that golden cog, get from some free card draw. Free cards are broken, so I'm excited for this hero. That's really all we have for her right now, I think. Of course, here's gold. If you don't know what gold does, this is a token we've had for a long time. 2 resources, destroy it, draw a card. But we can draw free cards that don't cost any resources with Puffin. And the big reveal, of course, is Gravy Bones. So we don't have a Necromancer either. So this is actually 2 new classes in this set. He's a Pirate and a Necromancer, which are both brand new classes into the game. Definitely the most new classes we've had in a while. Rosetta had none. Mysteria had none. Heavy Hitters had none, right? Yeah. Yeah, so it's like we haven't had any new classes in what, a year, 3 sets or 4 sets or something, and now we get 2 new classes all in one set, which is pretty exciting. People have been asking for Necromancer for a while. As you can probably guess, Necromancers use allies. Not a big surprise, so it's going to play maybe Illusionist-esque, a little Dromai style, but obviously a bit different because Necromancer is going to bring them back from the grave. And as you can guess how that plays in card games, it means literally from your graveyard. You're bringing the allies back, right? So how does this hero work? It has another destroy a gold effect. All of the heroes, actually, the third hero we'll look at down here too, have a tap this, destroy a gold. He's the only instant one, actually. I was double checking that. So you can do this one on both turns, although I don't know when you untap. So it's probably only once per turn cycle, assuming you untap at the start of your own turn. But you'll destroy a gold, you draw a card, and then you discard a card. So you just cycle a card. That's not bad. I don't know if it's worth a gold, but cycling a card is nice. But you get to put something in your graveyard, which is pretty important for the second part. If a blue card has been put into your graveyard this turn, you may play cards with Watery Grave from your graveyard. Now, what does that mean? Watery Grave. It doesn't mean anything on its own, except when this is put into your graveyard from the arena, turn it face down. Face down in Flesh and Blood means basically you can't interact with it. So if this is in your graveyard face down, it kind of, you can't do anything with it. It's not face up. You won't be able to play it again. So what that means is you want to discard this first, because if it's dying in the arena, it goes straight face down and you can't use it anymore. But if you can discard it first with something like Gravy Bones, and then play a blue card, then you can play it out of your grave, which is card advantage in a way, right? You're not drawing it, but you're getting to play it without having to draw it. So it's kind of drawing a card. Still pretty decent card advantage. Of course, you need to play a blue card as well. Or sorry, you have to put a blue card into your graveyard, but that can just be done by playing a blue card. Playing it still puts it in your graveyard, right? So this is a blue card with Go Again. You play it for 0, it goes into your graveyard, and now your second part of your hero ability is online. So if you've discarded this Chum friendly first mate at some point, then boom, you get to play Chum because you've done that. So if you can play some decent blue cards that are actually good to resolve and play, and you're not really like losing value by playing them, then it's pretty good. We'll get to the other cards like in more detail, but I'm just going down the line here. We don't know his weapon yet, but we know his offhand, so he's presumably going to have a one-handed weapon. His offhand is instant, tap this, look at the top card of your deck. That's nice. You get a look at the top card. You can't do anything about it, but you can look at it, which means maybe you'll know what's coming up. There's some self-mill, I think, like with Chart of the High Seas, so maybe you'll want to know what's on top. Information never hurts, and you just get to do it every turn. Once again, I'm making a large assumption here. You untap at the start of every turn, but otherwise, like every one of these tap cards is almost entirely unplayable. So I'm gonna assume you untap at the start of every turn. Otherwise, I'd have to evaluate these so differently. The first card, because otherwise this would be once per game, right? Which is really bad. The first card with Watery Grave you play from your graveyard each turn gets Go Again. Pretty nice. Otherwise, these would be kind of bad because if you play the ally with Watery Grave, your turn would just end. So this way you can play them, the card gets Go Again, and then you can attack with it. And then your turn would end because at the moment, none of them have Go Again on their attacks. But you get to attack with it, right? So that's pretty nice. Now let's look. There's 2 Majestics revealed, actually. For both classes except for the mech. For the Necromancer, and there's also a Ranger we'll get to. There's 2 Majestics revealed. First, we have Chart the High Seas. This card seems really good. You look at the top 2 cards of your deck. You may pitch a blue from among them, put the rest into your graveyard. It's already really weird. You're pitching a card from the top of your deck. If it's a blue, that's pretty good because basically this card's a blue. You can pitch a blue if there's one on top. It just is pitching this anyways, right? So it's going one quicker through your deck, but you're pitching a blue, and you're putting this blue into your graveyard, so you turn on Gravy Bones. Create a gold token for each yellow card put into your graveyard this way. It's also pretty great. So your ally is a yellow. If you pitch a blue, put the ally in the grave. Now you've also put a blue into your grave by playing this. You can just play the ally and you've made a gold. It's kind of the perfect card for the deck, of course. That's why they made it. It's like definitely one of the strongest cards. You just throw a yellow ally in, get a gold, play the ally with the blue you pitched. He does cost 4, so you just will probably be playing Tunic in this deck, I'm gonna guess. Like, yeah, of course, a lot of decks play Tunic, but off of the blue, if you like draw this card and then put Chum into your grave with the effect, you can just use the blue you got off of it and Tunic to play it. Pretty good. If we just think of that value, you're only using one card for this, right? We're just playing Chart the High Seas, and we need a Tunic counter. We are getting a Chum friendly first mate in this scenario. Doesn't really matter what the blue is we get. We also get a gold. Don't forget we get the gold, which we don't use in this scenario, so you're also getting a free gold. And what does Chum friendly first mate do? He can attack for 4. You can tap him as an action to attack, and he has 6 health, so they have to attack him for your opponent has to hit him for 6 to kill him. So in the best case scenario, or not the best case, in like the average scenario, he's going to attack for 4 and then block, quote unquote, 6 for you, right? Because if they could choose to not attack him, but if they do hit him for 6, that's 6 that you would have taken. So he's attacking for 4, blocking for 6. That's 10 value off of 1 card with Tunic. Of course, it does require Tunic, but with Tunic, you're just using Chart the High Seas to play out Chum, attack for 4, and kind of block 6. That seems really good to me. And you get a gold. So you're getting 4 offensive value, 6 defensive value, and a gold off of just a card in Tunic. That seems really good. Really, really good. That's like, makes this kind of the codex for the deck. And Codex also uses Tunic a lot, right? Because a lot of assassins go Dagger, Codex, Command and Conquer with Tunic. So it's not that weird for Codex to also synergize with Tunic pretty well. He has other stuff. Instant, discard a card with water. You have to tap him as well. So I think you have to choose between these options, right? If tapping is something that like refreshes at the start of your turn, you can only attack or use this. Instant, discard a card with water grave. Until end of turn, opponents must choose to set the target as attack stable. So I think what the idea is here is you'll probably attack with him the first turn in most scenarios, but maybe on your second turn you realize, okay, it's an aggro deck. They're just going to ignore all of my allies. Like, they just don't want to touch my allies. They're just ignoring them. You can force them to attack this guy. And there is a cost. You go down a card to do it. So I assume they're considering it quite good. You're going down a card. You have to discard a card with Watery Grave specifically. But later you can play that card with Watery Grave from your graveyard using Gravy Bones. So not necessarily like the end of the world. Now we've got some commons. These all rely on tapping allies for bonus effects. So this is just like a classic 2 for 6 with 3 block. When it attacks, tap an ally. It gets overpower if you do. That seems pretty horrible. 2 for 6 is bad. 2/6 with overpower is bad. This is like a draft card. Also, tapping an ally seems bad because you can also just like attack with this guy for 4 for free. Like, no resources to do that. So I don't know why I would be doing that in this scenario. Let's see what else we got. We've got Paddle Faster. When this attacks, you may tap an ally you control. If you do this, gets go again. That's better because it's a 0 for 4 go again, which is good. That 3 blocks. But I'm still not sure if it's worth it to tap an ally. Maybe you're going to have so many allies that you just can't attack with them all. Also, if none of the allies have go again, then you can only attack with 1 per turn anyways. So maybe if you have 2 chums, then this is good, right? Because you can tap 1 chum, attack for 4. Second chum, you just attack for 4 by itself. Then you're getting some value, especially if you don't care about the second part. So I can see this being important. And then hoist them up. When this defends, you may tap an ally you control. If you do this, gets +1. It's a 4 block. It's just a block card. I don't think this is going to see play outside of draft either. 0 for 5 is like nice to block with, but I think you would rather just play like Sink Below or Fate Foreseen a lot of the time. Especially if you're self-milling, like Fate Foreseen is probably pretty good, similar to Compass. So that's good. There is one card that I'm gonna pop up on the screen here that was revealed, I think, with his Armory deck as a promo. So I'm gonna open this up really quick. This is Rigor Mortis. He is another ally, kind of opposite of what we just looked at. So he is also yellow, but he only costs 1 instead of 4. And he does actually cost 1 to attack with. If you remember, Chum was free to attack with outside of tapping him. This one costs 1 in taps. And he has Water Grave. He attacks for 6 though, so a bit more than the 4, but he only takes 1 damage to kill. So he's like the kind of Vincerikai for the deck. But if you do something like chart and then you play him out off of the blue, you don't need Tunic, you just play him for 1 and then attack for 1. You get 7 value there because he attacks for 6 and they have to hit him for 1. It's still not bad. It's not 10 value, but 7 is still respectable off. I mean, 7 is still quite high off of 1 card. Once again, though, it doesn't have Go Again, so it'll be interesting if Gravy Bones' weapon gives Go Again, or if maybe just the allies just aren't supposed to have Go Again and you just end your turn with the ally attack, right? Like we're saying, maybe you paddle faster with Go Again, and then you end the turn with the ally attack, or maybe a lot of allies have alternative abilities like Chum, so you'll just attack with one of them, like Rigor Mortis, and then use Chum more as your defensive ally. I would expect maybe that's the case. I wouldn't be surprised if it's hard to give the allies Go Again. I think that's part of why Illusionist is so broken a lot of the time, is that like all of Dromai's allies had Go Again, all of Enigma's auras, not all, a lot of her auras will just automatically have Go Again. I think that was the issue, is that it's somewhat easy for the Illusionist to get Go Again on their permanents. So maybe their solution here is just not giving Go Again on the permanents. And then let's round it out. We've got Marlynn, Treasure Hunter. She is a Pirate Ranger. Once again, action of tapping to destroy a gold. Actually, not once again action, because only her and the mech is an action. Gravy Bones is an instant. But still, cost of destroying a gold. You get a gold fin harpoon in your hand with Go Again effect. Whenever you draw a card during your action phase, you may put an arrow from your hand face up into your arsenal. Whenever you draw a card during your action phase, you may put an arrow from your hand face up into your arsenal. That seems pretty good with New Horizon. If you don't know what New Horizon is, this was like Lexi's signature headpiece. New Horizon. If you have a face-up card in your arsenal, you have an additional arsenal zone. So you can use this effect when you draw a card to put, through various means drawing cards, you can put an arrow from your hand face up into your arsenal. And then you'll still have a second arsenal zone because of New Horizon to use with your bow, which we don't know her bow yet. I think it's actually going to be a cannon from what you'll see on the other cards. I think this card right here talks about it being a cannon. But when you use your cannon to put an arrow into your, put a harpoon into your arsenal, you'll have a second slot. So that could be good. Probably will end up being a New Horizon deck unless there is a big benefit. Also is really good with 3 of a kind. This card was also really good with New Horizon. You draw 3 cards for 1, which is really broken with Go Again, but you can only play cards from Arsenal. But if you're doing this with her, you just draw the 3 cards. I guess this is kind of a cool card for a pirate to use. It's very piratey feeling with the cards. And she's hunting things. Anyways, you draw the 3 cards. You'll put 1 right away into your arsenal. Then you'll have 2 more, so you can like pitch one of them and then use the last one as a second arrow. So I think she'll be really good with New Horizon 3 of a kind. Obviously, we have like 2 cards so far, but it seems like based on the hero ability, she'll be pretty good with New Horizon 3 of a kind. And then we've got Goldfin Harpoon as the token she makes, although it has a B rarity, which we've never seen before, so I guess it's not a token. It's a 0 for 2 arrow. If it would be put into a graveyard instead of removed from the game, and it's a yellow, but it can't be pitched, which is really interesting, and we don't know why that is yet. Because why does it matter that it's yellow if it can't be pitched? She might have some interaction with caring about yellow stuff, I would guess. I think this set is like gold focused, so maybe yellow is like part of the theme. Obviously, we already saw here that create a gold token for each yellow card, so we might have some yellow synergy. There's also like this Majestic's yellow, this Majestic's yellow. All of them have yellow Majestics, so it might care about yellows here. Maybe pirates are the yellow class. Kind of like the light talent being the yellow talent. Maybe pirates are the yellow class. Seems bad on the surface though. Just 0 for 2 is really bad. So why do we care enough to create one in our hands? I don't know. Maybe this is like the worst of the abilities at the top here, or maybe that there's some huge synergies with making these. If it had go again, I would say that's great, but otherwise, I don't understand the purpose yet, with the current reveals at least. The only other things we have to look at are these two Majestics and then the Landmark macro. First Majestic looks awesome. Really cool giant shark head coming in here with the harpoon going at it. King Shark Harpoon. So I suppose the art is actually about the harpoon here that she's shooting at the King Shark, since it is the arrow attack. But it really seems like the art is mostly the shark. This has Go Fish, which is a really funny new keyword for these pirates to use. When this hits a hero, they choose and reveal a card from their hand. So I assume that's the Go Fish part, is them revealing a card, just like in the actual card game Go Fish when you reveal cards. That's really fun. I already like that. So you hit a hero, they reveal a card. They get to pick which card they reveal. If it's an attack action card, they discard it and you create a gold token. Wow, that is really insane. They have to discard it and you get a gold token. That's really good. If you've activated a cannon this turn, instead look at their hand and you choose. Well, that's even better. So if we don't know what her cannon is like yet, but if you get to activate a cannon, this card's really insane. So I don't know how easy it is to activate a cannon or what that exactly entails, but it's already kind of good on the surface because a lot of heroes will have like all attack action hands. But if you can do the cannon part, then it's like broken because you just not broken. It's still just a 2 for 6, but it's actively a very good card that you will probably play 3 of. I would assume you'll always play 3 of this, assuming cannon's good. So that's going to be a key Majestic for her. Big Game Trophy Shot. I don't love that this is a action that costs 2. Usually for Rangers are not going to play those. Your next arrow attack this turn gets +4. That's pretty bad off of 2 for only +4. If it has Harpoon in its name, it gets when this hits hero, create a gold token. When this hits hero, create a gold token. Draw a card, then discard a card. Go again. So I guess the key part of this, so it's really bad on the surface because 2 for 4 is pretty bad. I don't know if getting a gold is even still worth 2 for 4. You would want this to be like a 2 for 6 with a make a gold. It's nice that it's a yellow 3 block at least. But I guess maybe the advantage is draw a card, then discard a card because that lets you put an arrow into your arsenal for free. So then you could like do this, put this in your arsenal, and then tunic and throw it. So it's like a, off of blue, it's a 3-card 10. It's still pretty bad. 3-card 10 threatens a gold on hit in this effect, but you haven't activated a cannon, so it's like they get to pick. I don't know. I'm a bit more suspicious on this card. Maybe drawing and discarding is just that important, or maybe getting the gold is just that important, or maybe she uses yellows fine. But on the surface, like this would be way better as a +3 on a blue, or it would be way better as like a red that's +6 or something. I think the 2 may be too awkward, but we'll see. We know Goldfin Harpoon and gold. Oh yeah, and I guess it was already here actually for the Rigor Mortis, which is shown because it's a promo, so it's an unknown set number. Last card is Treasure Island. So I think this is just for draft because it's a high seas macro, similar to how Rosetta had a macro in the last set for draft. So it just makes draft play a little different. I think it's kind of a cool mechanic they're incorporating. The first time a hero is attacked each turn, put a gold counter on this. So assuming you each are going to attack someone each turn, this gets a gold counter. When you or an ally you control deals damage to an opposing hero, you remove that many gold counters from this, then create gold tokens equal to the number of counters removed this way. So if it has 4 gold counters, because nobody's hitting each other in a while, and you hit them for 4, you remove all 4 counters, and you get 4 gold. That's really, really good. But if it just attacks for 1, they say no blocks, you just get 1 gold. So like you can maybe just trade 1 gold to each other each turn. That's probably like most of the game is just each person getting 1 free gold each turn. Because it's on attack, it gets a counter, and then on hit, if you've done at least 1 damage, you remove 1 counter and get a 1 gold. So I think most of the time this is just trading a gold with each other. But in a scenario where there's like more defensive blockout decks, like for example, it seems like Necromancer is highly defensive, then maybe he's not attacking and you're not hitting, so you'll just like attack him a few turns, and this will like build up a little bit, and then eventually you'll like hit him for 1 or 2. When you So hitting an ally also doesn't trigger it, which is nice. You have to hit the Necromancer themselves. I think it'll be cool. It'll change the gameplay a lot. It's a way to get golds, which will matter a lot, especially for Puffin. Seems like she cares about golds the most. Gravy Bones likes them for the draw discard effect, but getting the cog is so insane with the cranking to draw, so I think she will care about it the most. Marlynn, so far, seems like she cares the least because Goldfin Harpoon seems pretty horrible. And then Gravy Bone probably cares in the middle because draw a discard is nice to turn on the second part, but is not always necessary if you have probably lots of other ways to do it. Anyways, that's the set so far. Spent 25 minutes talking about like 10 cards, but there's a lot of cool stuff going on here. So far, of course, I'm excited, and I think everyone's excited for Necromancer. Seems cool. Of course, the aesthetic's really nice. I'm not a huge Ranger fan, but I do like some of the art here. And then I'm excited for the hero ability on this one, just because who doesn't love drawing free cards? We don't really know about how CC plays yet works or will work yet, but on the surface, Puffin seems to have a strong ability. They all seem like they could have something going on in CC, honestly. And draft, we don't know either. But I think on the surface, just talking about what they each do is pretty cool. So I'm excited to see how they play out. When we get, I'm not going to do another video just for like 1 or 2 cards, but we get another decent chunk, then I'll do another video updating this one. Thanks so much for watching. Remember to like, subscribe, comment. I'll see you next time.